The owners of Atlas Gym in South Jersey, who had been arrested for trying to open their business, returned and kicked the door down, forcefully re-entering their business to reopen it. New Jersey, where this business exists, has betrayed the working class. The Democrats of New Jersey have betrayed the working class. And it's not just about this gym. It's about a story that I find absolutely shocking, especially as a small business owner in New Jersey. Take a look at this. New Jersey Assembly okays bill allowing undocumented immigrants to obtain professional licenses. So if they want to be like a pharmacist or whatever, the state said, you got it. Let me get this straight. The people who live here, the people who run businesses will be arrested for trying to run this business. I want to point something out. You see this image. If you walk straight past where these two guys are, there's a Dollar General right there. I believe it's a Dollar General. People walk in and out all day, nonstop, buying stuff. It's essential. Now, I get it. But you mean to tell me that a small gym with a small handful of people can't operate, but people can go in and out of any other business? What they're doing is unconstitutional. Sending in police to arrest these men is extreme. And at the same time, while people have lost their jobs, you are saying non-citizens are now entitled to professional licenses so they become doctors and pharmacists and other specialists. They're not here for the working class. They're not here for their constituents. They are selling us out to multinational corporate interests. You know what's really funny about all this? Everything they're doing, destroying these small businesses, is that you'd think the left would be calling this out. You'd think the left, who cared about the working class, and these two guys who are, as far as I can tell, by no means wealthy, the left would be defending them against the state. Where's Antifa to say the state should not be forcing these people to shut down? Where's Antifa to be saying they should not be arrested for this? Remember Bernie Sanders? For years, Bernie Sanders warned that increased immigration would lower the wages of U.S. workers. Now he barely mentions it. This story from March of this year. The Democrats have betrayed us. They are selling us out to special interests who want cheap labor. Bernie Sanders said it in 2015 before he sold his soul. He said, it is a far-right proposal, open borders. It's the wealthy industrialists who run these massive corporations who want to flood the United States with cheap labor so they don't have to pay health care and wages. They will forcefully, they want to maximize the supply of workers. And now they're doing it more and more. It's another reason they want open borders. And this, according to Bernie Sanders, is so that, and this is free trade more specifically, they can put their factories in foreign countries where they don't have to pay for health care, union costs, etc. Once again, making everything cheaper for the wealthy ultra elites. And the weirdest thing happens just the other day. Donald Trump tweets out slamming wealth inequality. Why? Donald Trump is a populist. He is actually working to help the American people. Now, you might not like him for a lot of reasons, and there's a lot of reasons I don't like him personally. But at this point, it has gone too far. This year has really pulled the mask off of the Democrats. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not kidding. And this is not to say Republicans are good. I'm saying Democrats are bad. Guess what? I don't like Republicans either. They're all trash. But you know what? I live in New Jersey. I have watched what this governor has done, spitting in the face of those of us who run businesses here. And guess what? I'm out. I'm taking my business with me. One of the few small businesses that hasn't been negatively impacted by COVID, that for the most part, I would say. I keep on keeping on, right? I make videos. So I'm sure there's some hidden effects, but for me, it's business as usual. That's a privilege I have. But what about these two guys who run a gym? They wanted to have just a few people coming into their gym. And what did the governor do? He had them arrested for it. Even some guy, I think it was a couple of months ago, got arrested after coming out of the gym. They say, no, by edict, we have shut you down. You can't do that. And then what do you get from the left? They say, if only these stupid Trumpsters would just lock down for a couple of weeks, it would have been over a long time ago. 15 days to slow the spread. Even in places that don't have massive outbreaks, we're seeing the same thing. People getting arrested, fined, and shut down. Why? Because the working class has been betrayed. I'll tell you what, man. My business is successful, and I am leaving this state, and I cannot leave soon enough. We are trying to get out as fast as possible. It's because I'll tell you what, we can talk about taxes and the governor and him marching with Black Lives Matter and spitting in the face of churches and small business. But I'll tell you what, when you arrest small business owners, when you arrest them, you have crossed the line. New Jersey's talking about releasing prison inmates, something like 20%, but they're going to arrest these guys. People have lost their jobs. Unemployment is skyrocketing. And what do? We're going to make sure non-citizens now have access to the labor market. To me, this is an absolute knife in the back. I can't say I'm surprised. New Jersey is trash. I have run my business out of here for just about 4 years. And my business has been growing. It's been very successful. And many of you who've been following me for a long time have noticed that my channels are growing. There's more people involved. Yes. I was planning on buying a building out here and running a business in New Jersey. Why? I was like, if only we could make this place cooler. Maybe we could make something cool happen. No, not here anymore. And that was probably naive and stupid of me. I'm moving away from this place, and I'm going to be very careful about how I expand my businesses moving forward, no matter which state I go to. Let's see what's going on with these guys over at Atlas who kicked in the door after being arrested for running their business. The Philadelphia Inquirer reports, owners of the Atlas Gym in Belmar kicked down the plywood boards covering their business's doorway Saturday morning and ushered in dozens of clients for workouts. The latest move in a months-long standoff with government officials over New Jersey's coronavirus-related restrictions. Owners Ian Smith and Frank Trombetti allowed 40 to 50 customers to work out in the gym at once, which Smith said was less than 25% of the building's capacity. As customers waited in line Saturday morning, many said they couldn't wait to get back to their regular workouts. Smith acknowledged it was likely that law enforcement would soon arrive to force them to close again, as has happened several times since Atlas reopened in May. At a meeting Tuesday, Belmar officials will consider revoking the gym's business license, according to a letter Smith received. Governor Murphy has weaponized the police force against us over and over. No, stop. I'm done with this. The police are oppressing you. Stop licking boots and call out these nasty cops who violate the Constitution, period. There are good cops who have stood up and said, I refuse to enforce Edict. We've seen it when they tried imposing these gun laws. How many sheriffs popped up saying, not going to do it? There are certain things the government isn't supposed to be able to do. But if these cops want to go around and enforce Edict, well, then call them out. I think he looks foolish the way he's treating us. He's pulling out all the stops. You have to ask, how far will one man go to destroy a small business? Are you kidding? Oh, man. I know. I'm not laughing at these guys. I'm laughing about the idea. Like, you want to know how far he'll go? I'll show you how far he'll go. NJ Assembly okays bill allowing undocumented immigrants to obtain professional licenses. Yeah. And the governor is going to sign it. Okay, great. Now, we've got people who actually live here who pay taxes, and they've lost their jobs. Their businesses have closed. One of my favorite restaurants no longer exists in my area, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. So I'm getting out of here. It's a tough circumstance. I'll admit. I get it. But it's one thing if you're like, I'm sorry, we have to shut things down. 15 days to slow the spread times 10. It's one thing to be upset. It's another thing to at the same time say, we're going to arrest these guys, let these guys out of prison, and then we're going to let people who aren't citizens just come here and get licenses to work. But your small business, gone. Atlas, which has become a symbol of the frustration some residents and small business owners feel over the state's ongoing COVID restrictions, closed in March along with other gyms, restaurants, and a range of businesses that were ordered to cease operations to control the virus's spread. In May, riding a wave of publicity from a tour of several Fox News appearances and support from Atlas members, the owners opened the gym. The fight has escalated. Last month, they were held in contempt of court after a Superior Court judge in Camden ruled that Atlas must comply with an executive order by Governor Phil Murphy that limits indoor gyms' use to individual training sessions. Smith and Trombetti took the doors off the hinges to prevent the state from changing the locks again. Wow! This is getting spicy. On Monday, they were arrested, each charged with contempt, obstruction, and a violation of a Disaster Control Act. The Camden County Sheriff's Office boarded up the entrance to the gym. Around 8 a.m. Saturday, Smith and Trombetti kicked and forced in the boards as supporters and gym members cheered them on, then replaced the doors on the replace the doors on their hinges. Several dozen people watched from the parking lot, many waving American flags and listening to patriotic music blasting from speakers in front of the gym. Several attendees had traveled from other parts of New Jersey, and some waved anti-Murphy signs or wore pro-Trump accessories. At one point, after a song expressing support for President Donald Trump, Smith asked a supporter who was managing the music to ensure that no partisan music be played. Not everybody is on the same page, he said. We don't talk politics in the gym. Wow. Smith said he and Trabetty spent thousands of dollars implementing safety regulations based on what other gyms have been asked to follow. Inside the air-conditioned facility, clients receive contactless temperature screenings, are asked to sign waivers, and are given their own bottles of spray disinfectant to use while moving among machines. Masks are not required, unlike in gyms that have reopened in neighboring states, such as Pennsylvania. Smith said that an air purifier has been installed and that no COVID-19 cases have been traced to the facility, despite logging more than 13,000 visits from members in the recent weeks. You can do this safely, he said. You can't say that all gyms have bad ventilation. Some might, but to put them all in one category shows you don't understand discrepancies and nuance. It shows you are not actually interested in helping small business. Atlas members who used the gym Saturday said the owners were doing a good job of managing the health risks of working out. Joe Wickersham, who worked out Saturday morning, said it was big enough inside for members to keep their distance. It's great what they are doing, and it's a shame it's come to this, he said. Obviously, the governor is just picking and choosing what businesses can open. Yeah, because just across the river, over in Pennsylvania, apparently gyms are reopening. Now, look, man, I'm not here to condemn or condone what these men are doing. It's very, very difficult to figure out what is the right thing to do. But I will criticize the governor for supporting mass protests and Andrew Cuomo. All of these states that have joined in, you have no right to criticize people who want to run their businesses when only a small handful of people will be operating inside the business, when you go out and march side by side. And then what do we get? Anthony Fauci saying, well, I'm not here to talk about the protests. I can't opine on what governments can and can't do. Anthony Fauci will come out and tell us what businesses should or shouldn't be allowed to operate. But then when asked directly about the protests, he'll say, oh, whoa. I don't want someone throwing a brick through my window, right? That's basically what he's saying. Now, listen, maybe these gym owners shouldn't be forcing their business open. OK, I'm not here to condemn or condone. I mean, in fact, I will be to a certain degree. I will be slightly critical of kicking the doors in. And it's tough to know what the right thing to do is. But I'll tell you what the wrong thing is the governor arresting them. It's the governor issuing these edicts to shut down these businesses. It was supposed to be 15 days, and now it's stretching out to 130 plus. We've got to figure out a better way to solve these problems. We're already hearing now the CDC is apparently saying there's going to be serious health risks if we don't reopen schools. How could it be that we're being told there will be mass starvation, that kids need schools, yet for some reason the media and the Democrats keep saying the inverse? We're learning about how this stuff spreads, and it turns out that going outside is actually one of the best things we can do. Yet still, after all this time, they haven't changed any of their strategies. To me, it's frankly absurd. The only thing I can really say, man, is the reason why I would say I'm slightly critical about kicking the door in, though I can understand and respect, them standing up for their rights. My concern is escalation, and we're really, really close to an election. Peaceful protest is the right way to go about doing these things. And maybe what they're engaging in is civil disobedience. We just have to be very careful about escalation. That's all I can really say. And I'll tell you why. Listen, when the rioters got out of hand, it actually started hurting the left-wing cause. And that made me angry. If you really want to stand up for what you believe in, you do it peacefully, and it works. It's a fact, man. I've shown you all the data. When they went out and marched, approval for Black Lives Matter skyrocketed. It was great for them. But once they started rioting, it began to backfire. And this made Trump look good and made Trump out to be the law and order candidate. This is why I say I lean slightly critical on kicking the doors in. I got to tell you, look, deep down, I'm glad to see people stand up for their rights, be it Black Lives Matter lying down in the street peacefully, and people engaging in civil disobedience and saying it's my business, I can do what I want. But I'll tell you this, man, optics matters, And you've got to make sure that you're engaging in peaceful, nonviolent civil disobedience. Call what you want, Natalis, whatever you want. I'm just saying, let's be careful, because if this comes to the point where other people start kicking doors in and it's going to swing negatively just before an election. Look, man, I'm sorry. I'll just tell you this. I don't have all the answers. I don't. That's why I'll just say I don't condemn or condone the actions they're taking, and I can respect people standing up for their rights. I'm just warning, keep in mind how once the far left started rioting, how much that helped Trump. And if the right started doing something similar, it's going to hurt Trump really, really bad. This is about voting out these people who would violate our rights while we have a chance to do so. The election's coming up really soon. I don't know what this means for New Jersey. Me personally, I'm leaving. I know the guys over at Edict can't do that. I respect them for standing up for their rights. Let's just get through an election, see what happens, and hopefully all of these people who violated our rights are taken out. And I'll tell you what, one step further. If you are a police officer who violated the rights of somebody because you were told to, I hope you get fired. The left likes to prop up these people defending police as bootlickers. And I get it, man. If the cops follow unconstitutional orders and say, I'm sorry you have to do this, and then you just apologize for them? No. I'm not. You can absolutely, when the cops come to your door and they say, hand over they're going to seize your weapons for an investigation, comply and criticize them. Vote for someone who will hold them accountable. This is why I think there is a good argument for police reform, as we've seen how many cops across this country enforcing unconstitutional orders. They're literally breaking the law in front of our faces, and everything's breaking down. Listen to this. I don't need to get too much into what they're doing with this assembly bill. I just wanted to highlight this because it feels like they're punching me and many others in the gut at a time when businesses are suffering. Okay, providing professional licenses to undocumented immigrants. Okay, I'll tell you what. I absolutely have sympathy for people who want to come to America and live better lives. This country is fantastic. But you have to understand that when it comes to undocumented immigrants, they're jumping the line. They are literally oppressing good, law-abiding immigrants who are fighting to join the system to live a better life. These people are literally oppressing legal immigrants. You have to understand, we have rules in place for a reason. We have people who have just lost their jobs in this state. And now if you're going to jump the line, come to this state and think you have a right to take those jobs away, there are other legal immigrants who have played by the rules. Let me put it this way. Maybe this is something the left could understand. Let's say that you are going to college and you paid all of your loans, and then you're in class, and then finally someone says, I'm really sorry. You've been here for 4 years. You've paid all this money. We're not going to be able to give you your degree, even though you followed all the rules. And you'll say, whoa, why can't I get my degree? You see, there's only a certain number, and we're giving it to this person who just showed up yesterday. And you're going to be like, but that's not fair. I paid into this system. I'm supposed to get my job now. I understand the analogy is not perfect. The point I'm making is there's a finite amount of jobs. If you want to get a professional license and get a job when they're shutting down all of these jobs and you're now unemployed, and then they bring in more people to work in your field, making it harder for you to get, your job. Well, there you go. You've played by the rules. You've done everything right. And now they're opening the door to other people. So you have to fight harder than ever. It's no wonder so many of these college students are becoming communist and socialist. Let me get to the point on the Atlas thing. It's a, Let me just be honest. There's very specific language I have to be careful about using lest this video get deleted by YouTube. Keep that in mind. But I also want to make sure that as people stand up and engage in nonviolent civil disobedience, which is a very good thing, which you can get arrested for, we need to make sure that optics are on the rights of the working class, the people to challenge the system peacefully and to show just how awful and oppressive these systems can be. When Antifa goes around trying to burn down buildings, and then, I don't know if you've seen the Sticks Hexenhammer meme where it's the guy with the communist flag bandana saying, the government won't let me burn down buildings. We live in a fascist state. That's the perfect understanding of what the far left is. But when you see two small business owners get arrested, let me tell you something. That's going to bump Donald Trump up in the polls and the Republicans up in the polls substantially. The Democrats are stupid to be pulling this kind of ridiculous, unconstitutional action, so they will reap what they have sown. This is what they can expect. The more they pass laws like this, the more they oppress hardworking small business owners, there will be a revolt. Now, I'll tell you what scares me. It scares me that New Jersey is probably going to stay blue and nobody will care this is happening. And then businesses will leave and there will be less jobs. There will be more undocumented immigrants trying to find jobs that they can't. And I don't know what else will happen, but the residents here will suffer. And these states will flatten, I suppose, in terms of population density. They'll start spreading out, looking for work in other places. And then as the tax base erodes, the cities will face an increasing crime. The police force will start collapsing, and then, yeah, you can predict what happens next. But I'll leave it here, man. I live really close to the guys over at Edict, so again, not condemning or condoning. I can respect nonviolent civil disobedience. Keep in mind the optics, and I will see you all at 4 p.m. over at timcast.net.